Hello and welcome back to the channel where we are building a video game from scratch using Love2d and Lua. Yesterday we worked on getting some sounds fixed for our mobile deployment, which I have yet to test, but today, instead of this beautiful programmer art for Tashio up here, I'm thinking that we try to get the real Tashio up there with whatever he's holding, right? So like if we equip a yellow spell and a red tunic, we should see Tashio with the red tunic and yellow spell up there in the top right. And then when we come out, he's there, he's got his red tunic and his yellow spell. So we're already rendering it correctly in game, but we need to bring that into the other inventory state. So I think that's what we're gonna do today. So let's try to figure it out. So the cool thing is we already know how to render that player with the correct things on there. If we look at our inventory class, I think we have it set so that we're assigning, we call it like spell equip or something like that, or where is it? Element color and element slot. So those are the two things that's choosing what and where to render in his hand. And then there's also a field called tunic equipped in our global player, so that we should be able to like anytime we select it in the inventory state, it'll go ahead and modify that player. So it looks like what we'll have to do is all we have to do is render the player in our inventory state, except instead of rendering the player at its own X and Y location, we render it at the designated top right corner. And then I think our player class, okay, so here's another thing. It's like we don't update our player class unless we're in the play state, but I think since we manually toggle some fields here, I think we'll be fine if we just try to render our player. So maybe that's the first move, is we try to just see if we can render the player in our play state at a location that he's not supposed to be at. So let's see if we can find where we render our global player here. Yep, I don't know if it's in the... I don't know where we render our player. I don't know if it's in the walk state, or the entity class, or the player class. I guess let's see in the walk state maybe. Let's see if we're doing it there. Let's see. Yeah, we do a lot. We do a lot. So right here, we're snagging the animation of our player. This right here is our player render. And then there's a specific checking for which tunic is equipped. And if we're falling or not, because we have to render different falling animations depending on which tunic is equipped. And then here's the spell render. Okay. So one thing we aren't doing in our game right now is our spell button is casting a fire spell no matter what element's equipped, but we don't have any other elements to render, so that's why it's kind of like that, so that we can at least test our spell casting. But we're going to be trying to render the player here. So if we go, how would we do this? This is in our player walk state. We're rendering the player's animation. Okay. And the thing is, I don't think we don't want to necessarily snag the animation frame, right? We just want to snag the default frame. But we have to make sure the default frames match up. Like, we have to render the first quad of the tunic as well as the first quad of our character so that they don't misalign each other. But in the play state, I guess we'll just try it. I guess we'll just try to draw the player in our play state here and see what we get. In our pause state. I should name this inventory state, I think, but pause because it's when you hit start. So we're rendering the mock-up, we're rendering the item inventory, and then we're rendering our heart row. So we should be able to, we're looking to draw our character right here, but we need to give it the right texture. So maybe we can do this not self player. We'd go to the global, oh shit. Because yeah, we're trying to yeah, I don't think we want to do this necessarily. The tricky part gets to be like which we have to draw the tunic at the right frame as well. So maybe we just default, all we would do is render the quad. So like whatever our character's texture is, which we have right here, we should have our player character walk at quad 1, right? So G texture character walk quad frame 1. So G textures, and it is called character walk. What do I do, man? Okay. I don't know what I just did there. Okay, so we're taking from our atlas character walk, and the quad is going to be the same character quad, but then the third bracket is where we're going to change it up. And the third bracket is not the current frame of the animation, but the first frame, the first quad. And then for now, let's just render it at 0, 0. And we'll see if we can see anything in our inventory state. There we go. We do have them in there. So we have to get them placed, and then we can worry about trying to render the tunic and stuff on top. So let's say that this is an X of virtual width minus maybe 20, and then a Y of maybe 16. And let's see if he's placed up there. Okay, close. We need to move him left a bit more. So maybe this is... We forgot to account for the width of our character, which was 16. So There we go. He's looking pretty good in there. Yeah. Looking pretty good. Well, we want to put like a little background in there, right? And raise them up a bit. So a little left, a little up, and then we'll get a background in there. Okay. Let's see. Maybe this can be... It's not a big deal, but I kind of want them centered. There we go. So let's go a little bit down, and then we'll give a little bit of a background here. So maybe we just say this is 14, and then let's get a background going. As much as I love that little guy, let's get a background in there. So we could load up our atlas and just kind of take our grass or something, or we could, maybe the easiest way is to draw it in tiled and then export it. I've never done that before. I don't know how to export just a, let's see, new map. Maybe we do, right, Crumpler? It's like, it gets the job done. No one's gonna not know what that is. Because literally what I want is like right here in the master sheet like this, but I don't know how to export that. Oh, I guess it's in the atlas. Yeah, we can just pull it from the atlas. Here we go. Yeah, so like if we gave it literally just like this stuff right here, this grass right here, I do ultimately want to kind of pick the terrain based on what biome you're in. So like the background will show up. Oh, we need to export this. You know, if you're in the desert, it would show sand. If you're in the forest, it would show grass like this. So it's a 48 by 48, and we'll just export it. We'll save as PNG, and we'll call it grass background. Okay. So we don't need it as a quad or anything, we just need the drawable. So let's do grass BG gets a new image. Grass background. PNG. Okay. So that's a global drawable. So now, before we render our player, let's draw our background. And we'll draw our grass background, and it needs an X and a Y, an X of 0, no, a Y of 0, and an X of virtual width minus, was it 46? 48. Okay. So we draw our background, then our character. Let's see. Cool. It's not square. It is a bit too tall. Like, we don't need that much space for our little character there. So maybe we're better off just overriding the background. Yeah, I guess it depends if we want to. You know, it's almost like, I don't know. Because yeah, anything bigger than that square is kind of a bit much, but we have already a wider square than that. So I think I might just paint into the backdrop this image. So let's not draw the grass background, and let's not import it either. And I'm going to remove it from the repo before I forget. And we'll just draw it as part of the back. It's weird because it doesn't play so nicely with the 16 by 16 tiles. If it were quite visibly like a 2 by 3 tile set, I would say let's just redo the key item side and just make it 3 tile widths wide, and then the character portion would be 2 tile widths high. But I don't want it that big. It shouldn't be that big. It's just a little part of the character. It's just to show like your character's loadout. So I think we can just draw it on the pause mock-up here. So we'll take, maybe we'll take the grass from here and bring it into the mock-up. I don't like that I would stretch it like that. I don't like that. Yeah, it's not quite big enough to justify adding a whole tile width. Like, that's 2 tiles, so 3 tiles would be like all the way out here. That's just too big. So we'd want something, yeah. And I guess we could. I don't have a dedicated size for this stuff. But then again, yeah, I mean, like I don't think it should be a 2 by 2 tile size up here. It's just, it does kind of make sense to me that it would be a 2 by 2. Just because any fractional thing would look just too weird. Because it should be divisible by the tiles here. So maybe we have like a backdrop like right here. We can shift our other stuff down. I don't know what I'm doing in A-Sprite. Okay, we'll make a new layer. Yeah, I'm a little torn. I don't think a perfect 2 by 2 is justifiable here. Yeah, let's just do an edge to edge. We'll just kind of fudge the tile a bit. we won't stretch it, but we'll kind of make a tile set that doesn't really exist here. Yeah. So if we agree, I still don't know the final aspect ratio I want for up here, but something like this is looking better than a 2x3, I think. So I think that's okay. Okay. I think I'm okay with that. So let's export this. We'll save this as a pause mockup PNG so we can overwrite the one that's in there. And then now we should be able to see the character in our inventory class or state. There we go. So let's see here. If we switch tunic, we aren't updating the character or the thing he's holding, so we have to also render the tunic if the tunic's equipped. That's so weird. I guess if we look in our walk state, or maybe our idle state for our player. See, I don't like that we're it's hard for me to wrap my head around this, because on one hand it makes sense for us to kind of split apart our modular character render, in the sense that it renders the character, then it renders the tunic, then it renders the item, then it renders the key item. So it's like a 4 modular thing. But I don't like that we're in the state and we're saying, you know, if there is a tunic equipped, render that tunic, else if this tunic's equipped, render that tunic, else if that tunic's equipped. So it's almost like we should be able to save. I'm wondering if we can save parameters as a variable so that we can basically just change the tunic equip parameter, so that we say, like, all we do is say love.graphics draw tunic params, and whenever we select tunics to equip, it changes that tunic params variable, And then that way we're only calling one thing and just says, hey, draw tunic params instead of this whole if block. Because we shouldn't, you know, we don't need to check which tunic we're rendering or equipping every single frame. We don't need to do that. We just should just render the tunic that is equipped, and that's it. So I don't know if I'll figure that out today, but that's something I want to figure out, because especially when you look at what I'm about to do to fix this is to go into our pause state and say, hey, if the global player right here can say, if the global players the player is the entity. Okay, is it player.entity? Self.entity should be player entity. Okay, yeah. So we don't want, we want to replace our self entity with our global player. And then it's not at the anim texture, but it would be the matching frame character. See, yeah. So I do think that we should change this because it just doesn't make sense. Because then we have to change, or we're asking this question every frame as well, like, hey, is red tunic equipped? So it's like, we know if we know if blue tunic is equipped or not, and that doesn't change unless we change it. So we shouldn't ask over and over every frame which things to render. I don't know if you can pass in multiple params as a single variable, but why not? Okay, and then we don't want, okay, so a couple of things. We don't want the current frame. We want frame 1. So any anim current frame here, substitute any anim current frame, or get current frame. We want to substitute that with 1. And then we don't want to render it at the player X. We want to render it at the values we have up here for X, which we should, we'll do it right now before we get too carried away. We'll turn these values into globals, into constants, so that we can just use those again. So we'll just do that over here. So we'll call it inventory player X is our virtual width minus 38. And then inventory player Y is our 14. Okay. And then now we can do that here. Okay. So any global player X should become this inventory player X, and then any global player Y. No, that would Okay, it's the self entity Y. Okay, so this self.entity entity Y is now this inventory player Y. Okay, so let's see if tunics are being rendered here. Now, this is, yeah, we render our player, then we render our tunic if the tunic's equipped. This, oh, I just realized we did this wrong. This is in our pause state. Oh, no, that's right, that's right. Okay, that's right. Oh, I freaked myself out. Okay, so we've got a little player there, and if we change a tunic, oh my gosh, it works. Sweet. So that's the idea, where it's like you can kind of see your loadout when you click on it. We don't have a way to get back to its original unequipped tunic version. So maybe what we can do, I know how we can do it. We can say if you hit select on a tunic that is already equipped, then we just need to unequip that tunic, and then we should be able to get back to our brown tunic. But then we need to add our element as well, which shouldn't be too hard. But let's see if we can figure out the only change tunic. Yeah, let's see. If Pete, so P is our select button, which is our A button on the Game Boy, and it looks like we're updating that in the inventory class. Oh no, we just crashed. Shit. Oh, come on, Twitch. Let's go. Okay, so that's all this is all the tunics. The selected row is 2. So here we want to say, wow, is it really just crashed? I think we can say here, we're like, if our green tunic is already equipped, then we actually want to become green tunic not equipped, which would then get us back to our brown default tunic. But if it's not equipped, we can go ahead and equip it. And then same with all these other ones. So we can say if our blue tunic is equipped. I do think I like that idea of like tunic parameters being set, and then we just render tunic parameters instead of all of this conditional stuff. I just don't know if a variable can sit in for parameters. Multiple parameters. I just don't know. So if blue tunic's already equipped, we're going to unequip it. Okay. give it a shot. Nice, yes. Yeah. So if you click the tunic, the corresponding tunic while it's equipped, it'll get you back to the default tunic, which is cool. Nice, nice, nice. Okay. So now we just need to render the old element. So that shouldn't be too bad. So how do we render the element right now? I guess, yeah, where do we render the element? Is it in the player class? No. Oh man, yeah, okay. We've got to get our dialogue boxes working again. Okay, it's called item slot or element slot in element color. Just like this. Okay, so this is the selecting of it, but we're looking for the render of it, so element slot render. It is not in our inventory class. It's probably, yeah, it's probably over in our walk state or something. Uh-oh. Oh no. I just opened harpoon inside a harpoon, I think. Okay. So let's go to our player walk state and we'll say, like right here, we're going to set the color to be our global item inventory's element color. That makes sense. And then render the character element at not the G-frames texture, but we'll do the same thing we're doing for the other ones, which is in our pause state. We'll say this is element render. Okay, element color, and then character element, and then character element. And then we only want the very first frame, so it matches. And then it's not this player X, but it is the inventory player X and inventory player Y. Okay. Yeah, so one inconsistency is that when you start the game, you're able to cast spell right now with no spell equipped. But let's see. Oh, nice. Oh, yes. Oh, we need to change our heart render. Oh, look at how cool the dark hearts look, though. Yeah, we need to change our heart render. Oh, this is cool, though. Oh, yes. Sweet. Okay, cool. Yeah. We'll just come in here, and before we render our hearts, we'll just set our color to be white. Before we render our hearts. Then that should fix it. Okay, okay. Sweet, 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 sweet. Nice, nice. And then, oh, can we... Oh, see, look, we should render... Yeah, we need to render the loot, too. So we need to render the item slot as well. So where is the item slot? Render in our walk state. Right here. We have a loot equip. So it's basically this. If there is an item in the item slot and that item slot is of type loot, then render the loot equip. Okay. So we need to go to our inventory. No, our pause state. And put right here that this is a loot render. So if it's type loot, we don't need to check if we're falling because we're in the inventory state, but we want the first frame of the loot and at the proper locations: inventory, player X and Y. Nice. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Sweet. And then if we had, we don't have any other animations for if we're holding a berry or if we're holding a baggie. I don't even know what a baggie is. But if we had different animations for those items in the item slot, we can render it. This is looking great, and the really cool thing is this player is being rendered based on the global player. So I think if I were to deploy once we commit this, it should work on touch. We shouldn't have to do any extra touch handling because the touch handling that we're already doing is what's handling the switching for that. So I think we should be okay. Oh, this is sweet. And you can take it off. That's cool. Cool, cool, cool. Okay. Then we'll need some way to signify which tome is kind of selected, but we don't have any tomes just yet. So I think that's okay. I think that's working. I'll have to commit and push and deploy to the web so I can test it on phone, but that seems to be working. So we can say that we added I'll call it loadout render for player. Yeah. Okay. Sweet. So yeah, tomorrow, I don't know what tomorrow will be. We'll probably be doing probably try to get the frets held working for the touch on the loot minigame, so that we know and that we can actually change frets, because right now it's just busted on mobile. Once you tap a higher fret, it never goes down. So if we can get the touch released working tomorrow for that, then that would be a good thing to finish for tomorrow. But other than that, I'll raid out here and call it a night. We'll raid the old tried and true Hypnotic Games. All right, thanks for watching, everybody. I'll be back tomorrow. I hope everyone has a wonderful night.